Welcome everybody to. Oh, that was my fork for my steak. Um, welcome welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Water Cooler. I'm Pumla Schmidt, and I'm here with some friends today. We're going to talk about securing your IoT devices. This is where we're just. This is not like if we're. Here with some friends today. Oh. We're going to talk about securing your IoT devices. This is where we're just
now on the replay.
Oh. That was my other tab. I'm like, where did that come from? Oh my god!
Your other tab, as opposed to the 30 other ones that you have. But yeah,
that's one of the million tabs that I have. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's been a long day because I just got done grilling my steak, and I was around like a 500 degree grill. So yes, let me start over again. The water cooler where we shoot the shit. I'm here with friends, and we're going to talk about securing your IoT devices. So we can go around the circle, our imaginary circle, and everyone just introduce yourself, and then we can just start talking about how to make sure that it's not a transformer world and my coffee maker doesn't come after me.
Mm-hmm.
Leon, you want to go?
Okay, fine. My name is Leon Adato. You can find me on the Twitters, which I say to horrify my children, at Leon Adato. You can also find me on the Thwack community. That's thwack.com, because naming things is hard. Which my username there is at Adato LE, and I am a head geek at SolarWinds, and I've been in IT for about 30 years, so I've seen things.
Okay, my name is Justin Deering, and yeah, I'm on the Twitters as Zippy1981. Yeah, and I work as a mostly .NET consultant guy out of my office in New Jersey. With my client currently in Allentown, which I haven't been to in a while because of these uncertain times.
So you're my neighbor. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Al Rashid. You can find me on Twitter, Al_Rashid. I am a systems administrator for a federal contractor in the DC area.
I guess I'm Adrian. I just got here.
He's like, I just joined something.
Like usual. Yeah. I'm Zoom bombing without Zoom. Yeah, I work at DataStax. We work primarily with Apache Cassandra, large-scale distributed database systems, etc. Just released a product called Astra, which is a database as a solution. And that's what I've been doing lately. Lots of everything from Terraform to all sorts of things. And a lot of my core focus these days is Azure and more Azure.
Surprise.
I heart Azure. Yes. But today we're going to talk about securing your IoT devices. Before we started the stream, we were talking about our dishwashers, our refrigerators. I mean, we're at the point where everything is pretty much connected. Like even your faucet, I think you can buy faucets that are connected somehow. And I had this thought, like, do we need to start securing these devices? Because, you know, the way things are getting hacked, do I really want someone to know what's in my fridge? Can they see me if I walk downstairs half naked because I want a glass of water? I mean, things like that, right? We know our TVs are connected, but what about my dishwasher? Because that's Wi-Fi enabled. Do I really want someone starting my dishwasher? Or can it hurt me? Or does it really matter?
Well,
I'm going to leave it open to everyone.
I was just going to say one quick thing, and then I'll let everybody comment on that too. But the things that you just said are already possible without much of any change to IoT devices, unfortunately. Just with like current observation technologies, let's say. But then, of course, there is the whole dilemma of, you know, everything from like things that are measuring our water. A few years ago, a major U.S. city did a rewrite of a bunch of water measurement systems and the ways to pay. They weren't even able to charge any citizens for like over a year. And then they started sending bills out. They were like $6,000 for water. So I can see where like somebody hacks something and messes up everybody's bills for a while. Then all of a sudden the water company sends everybody a $5,000 bill for water. That would cause a pretty significant problem. So just some like sugar for that cake of conversation.
Well, not too long ago.
Don't say cake without supplying cake.
Yeah, right. If you're going to bring the cake, bring the cake. Yeah. Not that long ago, it was, you know, one of the doorbell systems was hackable with a $5 app on the Apple and Android App Store. Like you could just walk by and, oh, they got one. Okay. And just, and you're in. And as one of my colleagues, Destiny Bertucci, says, if your speaker starts talking to you, if they start mocking you on the speaker, which is happening, somebody came home and heard a voice, and it was somebody talking to their dog over the speaker on their IoT devices. But her comment was, if they're doing that, it's already over. They have already determined your entire schedule, when you wake up in the morning, when you come downstairs, when you're in the house, when you're out of the house, and now they're just messing with you. You know, they've already got it. It's over. So that's the scary part, is that if you get to the scary part already happened.
So they already know that I've got 4 buckets of ice cream in my fridge.
They know.
And I
they
buy
know
expensive
cheap
service.
ones too. I don't always buy expensive ice cream. I buy the cheap generic ones too.
Right, and they've already
They know
restocked
that.
your refrigerator with steaks.
Oh my gosh! I only buy fillets. The greats. Everyone's gonna know that.
So,
Right.
Did the steak work out?
What was that?
Did you get the steak done, by the way? You'd mentioned on Twitter. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Steak haven't tweet.
I already ate
Tweet
my
your meat.
waffles too.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I said I was gonna cook steak.
Good job.
Right? No, she doesn't joke about steak. For those folks who aren't familiar with it, Shodan.io is a eye-opening, no pun intended, eye-opening experience, because it shows you all the open devices anywhere, by brand, by location, by whatever. And you can, I mean, there's so many things that have never been configured, never been locked down, never been touched. Just plug it in, make it work, and it's out there. And that's the part that, you know, that it's not so much, I shouldn't say that. It's both the fact that they are so insecure, and also people don't do anything to secure them at the same time. It's a double, it's bad in both directions.
So what do we do to secure them, right? Like I'm just being devil's advocate. I'm being, you know, someone like my parents, who could have like a Furbo. Do you know what a Furbo is? Furbo is one of those it's a little device that shoots out dog treats to your dog, and it's got a little webcam, and from anywhere in the world, you could log in via the app on your phone and see your dog. And that's what I was using when I was traveling around the world for Microsoft Ignite Tour. I'd be in Johannesburg, open up my app, I'd see my dog sitting there, shoot him a treat, shoot her a treat. But like things like that, like how do I secure that, right? So I just put like a, you know, super fancy password in. Is that
so segmenting, I think, yeah, the big thing is for, I mean, something like that, you're not going to want to opt out of. Like I would say, my oven is fully, you know, Wi-Fi or whatever, and I just don't use it. I didn't care that it had that. It's just when you spend that much in oven, you kind of get that unless you spend real money in like a Viking oven. But I think the big thing is like just having a separate access point, you know, name, you know, just and putting that stuff there. That's something that you can probably get, like, you know, your parents to do on a modern router. Most routers will.
I mean, I'm just, you know, generic parents, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of our parents out there, or, you know, friends and family that aren't as technical as us, think, you know, hey, this is Wi-Fi enabled. Just gonna connect it. All I need is my, you know, my Wi-Fi password. Wait,
Right.
do we even need a Wi-Fi password? I actually had a relative ask me that, and I had to walk out of the room. I couldn't answer.
Take a moment.
Yeah. I had to walk out. I came back in. And I'm like, yes, you must have a password.
Yeah. So I think that's the main point, is the you in that sentence, not playing the pronoun game, is going to matter. So for I think for everybody, changing the router password is like the bare minimum piece, and, you know, then things go up from there.
So we just not like, so my dishwasher is Wi-Fi enabled. I actually don't have it connected, just because, like you said, Justin, do I really need it? I think I may try to connect it just to see what all I can do, but it hasn't really, I don't know, hasn't thrilled me. Now the fridge is a different story. because I would love to know if someone's eating my ice cream, or my, fruit or the cake. Like that to me is what.
Well, what about your thermostat?
That's another one. Yeah, the thermostat.
And I'll go a step further. How many of us have an Echo or a listening device, whether it's Echo, Siri, Google's thing, whatever it is, right?
HomePod.
You bring up a good point, Leon. Sorry to interrupt you. I just got a set of those Govee lights for my daughter, and you can control them with a Google Assistant and Echo, so on and so forth. She had a Google device that's a couple years old, but it's compatible. It works just fine. She asked if she can get a new Echo, and I said, no, we don't need it. That's one more thing that I don't want to manage. It's one more thing I don't want anybody to get a hold of or take over. Furthermore, also during COVID-19, something that I never would have imagined, and we've been in this home for 11 years, I bought a second refrigerator. I know, overly cautious, but I'm just, for me personally, and this applies to my family, I got sick of dragging groceries into the house after they've been sanitized, whatever, etc. This way we can sanitize them in the garage, throw the goods in the refrigerator that are in the garage, and be done with it. The point I'm trying to make is, before we ultimately decided on the refrigerator, the discussion came up, can we get a fancy IoT refrigerator? And I immediately said, no, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want, and I know Puma and we discussed this previously. I don't want to deal with more technology. I'm completely satisfied.
You do it all day.
I'm completely content with what I do for a living. I don't want to do it for another 8 hours with my family, even though my kids and my wife are pretty tech savvy, but we got enough to worry about, and it's just one less thing that just I can get off my mind.
Totally. Like, it's one less machine that you are responsible for, because ultimately all of us in this little circle here, we're responsible for the technology in our homes. And let me just tell you, some days I walk away.
And our parents' homes and our brother-in-law's homes and our neighbors' homes, and the number of times my 70-year-old neighbor brought her phone over. Yeah.
He's like, my cash register isn't working. And I'm like, when did I become your tech support? But hey, he goes, I need to print receipts out. Okay, hold on. I'm like trying to help him, thinking, oh my God, this is my life now, But what do you say to your brother? He's like, hey, I'm running a business. I've got a customer here. I need the print.
Right? Y'all are making me feel really good about my families right now.
Hey, look, if they're not asking you, just cherish it. Cherish the moment.
If anything, I usually get suggestions like, hey, check out this new Ubuntu app I got. It's doing great work for all my devices on the network. And I'm like, cool, Mom. Thanks.
Will your family adopt me? She said the magic word.
Probably so. Just come on over.
Hey, my father still has a flip phone, so he is in no way interested in any technology.
My dad actually has a flip phone too, but that's for security reasons. On that note, I was also going to say, even though some of all this is like an additional bunch of mess to deal with, to work with, to keep track of, etc. One of the things I think about routinely, though, like especially during this era in which we live, right, where if we can, we try to cut down on trips to grocery stores or anywhere public or whatnot. And like one of the things I do a lot is, and I have to admit, I kind of sort of did this before even the pandemic broke, but I order groceries online and I get groceries. And I'm super bad at keeping track of what's in the fridge. I don't know. I can't see through it. It's not clear, right? So if I could get a little assistance with the possibility of managing another IoT thingy, and say it like says, these are your levels. And I just have that data like on the door of the fridge or something like that. Like, I don't even really want it to say, hey, do you want to go order all this stuff? I mean, that'd be an extra. But then if I could just have that data on the door, at least I wouldn't have to have like continuous contact with some tertiary network or thing. And I could like keep it internal to the network. But I feel like a lot of IoT devices don't really provide that option. Like a lot of the security cameras are like, nope, your video is going to go up on the cloud. And if you want it, you can watch it from all these mediums as if it's local, but it's really up on the cloud. So like you don't get the option to really determine where your things are and where your security access points are even going to be if you're able to even know about these things to do it.
It's just there. But see, that's just it though. The way society is, the way consumers are, it sells better if it's easy.
Right.
One, 2, 3, click, done. I just plug it in, I push the power button, and I do 3 clicks of a button, and boom, I'm online. That's how consumers are. I mean, that's how I am. If it's complicated, I don't want to have anything to do with it.
I mean, I feel the same way, but that also, in this particular, oh look, Seth,
we have a party.
Hey, this is good now. I just have to say to the easy. My dad, when I was growing up, when I was really little, my dad had a Bang & Olufsen stereo, which was a monstrous device. It was like 7 different components that each had their special cable and vacuum tubes and everything. And I wasn't allowed within 10 feet of the thing because he was sure I was going to break it. And I probably was. Let's be honest. Okay. Compare that to the boombox I got when I turned 13 in the
on your shoulder.
I absolutely did. I absolutely did. It was a couple of years ago. Maybe more. So the point is that, I mean, compare this Bang & Olufsen monstrosity that required an electrical engineering degree to put together to the, after a couple of decades, like the rapid advancements. And I think people have the same thing. I don't want a Bang & Olufsen network. I don't want to have to buy. I apologize for Cisco adherence. And I know it's, Cisco Live this week, but, I don't want a Cisco network in my home. I certainly don't want to install one for my mother. I want like the one router and it's just going to turn on. It's just going to work. The trouble is that I think that encourages bad behavior in ourselves because there's so much that can go wrong with that.
I agree.
Wow,
100%.
what did I just walk into?
A security IoT discussion about social responsibility for all people in society.
Oh my gosh. Like
Wow.
I came here to do ASMR with my garbage can. I mean, am I on the wrong stream?
Well,
Is this
because
not
I'm
the-
eating my steak.
Oh my God.
I was confused at first
I'm
too.
in the wrong
Seth.
room, I think.
I was here to make waffles.
I heard there was.
That's Friday. Friday's waffle day. We'll have waffles on Friday.
Gosh, that was
I
quite
heard
the
they were
entrance.
serving steak today.
I'm gonna drink my tea now.
Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
I accidentally fell into an ASMR room once, and I was like, "What is this?"
Al's done. Al is absolutely done.
Speaking of IoT and security,
So I want to ask though, we're talking about IoT and we're absolutely talking about home, personal IoT, but there's another, I mean, we're all IT people here. There's an entire other class. There's the industrial and commercial and even urban IoT stuff
Tractors.
that's out there. IoT tractor, IoT forklift, IoT city lights, IoT, Adrian, sorry if I butchered your name.
No, that's fine.
You talked about the meters. There's a whole city system of checking meters that's out there. Most cities will implement IoT stoplight controls, and they'll never change the password. You can actually go on your phone and do like air snort, and you can change the light sequences if you really want to. Don't do that.
I'm
Do not
very
try
aware of
this at
that.
home.
I'm into the whole urban planner thing and tactical urbanism and stuff. And there's a reason there's all those memes with actual signs displaying weird stuff all over the country. It's because it's easy to do. You walk up, you're like, oh, look, it's open.
isn't there like an internet of trash, like Twitter? Oh my god!
Internet trash.
Internet of shit. It's the internet of shit. It's one of the best. One of the best Twitter handles ever. It's great. It's horrifying, but it's great.
Looking
My
up
goodness.
internet of shit right now.
It is.
Yeah, it's
I've never
both
heard of it.
eye-opening and
So
disturbing.
are we, by not securing the devices and the bad practices of human society, are we opening ourselves up for Skynet and the
No.
Transformers to come and take
No,
us
no,
over?
no, no.
Machines
Like people,
are gonna start, throwing knives at us and things like that. And come on here, we've
Okay.
all watched
So
the movies.
This is why Skynet isn't going to work. Here's my phone. Here's my tea. Who's going to win? Who's gonna win? You know, like it. No.
Well,
Dude, you got me on edge
this is
there. I'm going to
waterproof,
need some
though.
ASMR here to fix that was scary crap.
Is my
Like,
coffee
self-comfort,
gonna
yeah.
attack me? I mean,
No, like people look at AI and I don't think they understand what it is. AI is just a lazy way of writing functions with data.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the other thing. You can tell other people what it is using the other word that it is, and then they just get bored and fall asleep. Just tell them it's math.
Right.
And
That's
it's not
true.
even like hard math. It's like
Right, it's not.
it's like it's
If
just,
statements, Boolean.
it's not it's multivariable differential calculus at its best, and that's it.
stop using these fancy word stuff. Stop it. Okay?
I use that.
It's a case block. It's just a
saying-
really.
saying that kind of math, those kind of math words, is like the dude that shows up, like the people that flex with their like library in the back with books they've never read. Like, holy cow, you have the Aeneid? Do you speak Latin? No,
I'm
I
like,
just have it in my background to flex. Right?
It
That's
just looks
basically
good,
what
yeah.
it is. It's basically just a way of. It's basically all for loops and updating numbers by subtracting other numbers.
Yeah.
And
IBM
I say
coding.
this. I say that having implemented some of these things. And so, but it turns out that the more data you have, the better these things are.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that we all have bad data. And so,
Lots of bad
Well,
data.
okay, so let's protect that data, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if we're all connected, humans, we can be idiots. I mean, come on.
Yeah. yeah, like the very same Karen
Can we?
decries, the very same
Look at the
Karen that
news.
decries the loss of privacy decries it on Facebook. It's just like I can't stand people like getting into my privacy, and they're saying it on Facebook,
Right.
where they're posting what they ate
On their
this
cell
morning.
phone with
But
GPS
you're on
tracking turned on.
Facebook.
Yeah, but that's different. How? Right, and so it turns out that people are looser with their data when it's convenient. Every time, like for example, you talked about people not changing the default password. It's not convenient. Why would they want to do that?
Yeah.
It's
It's
too
all
almost
right.
like we need some type of standard operational education of this stuff. Even though I've also said this to product teams before, if before you've even released a product, you start worrying about how much you have to educate the user, you failed.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's way too. You've already you've already failed because
Yeah,
they're not going to do it if you have to educate. They're not, because I won't do it if you have to tell me and teach me and inform me. Yeah, I'll do
It's
it.
the Dune. It's the Dune theorem of application design. I saw Dune in the theater when it came out, like the movie, and they had to hand you a glossary, a 2-page
theater?
glossary in the theater because you weren't going to understand the movie without it, unless you had read the book. Which, like me and all my friends, we had read the book. We were fans, but
Yeah,
anybody
I'm
who's
out.
normally going to see a movie,
You said
no. So
glossary, I'm like,
yeah. So here's my question. If you were going to run it down, you have a friend or relative who is they're technically capable, if not technically savvy. If you tell them to go do something, they will find out how to do that. So you are not signing yourself up to fix it. What would be your rundown for, all right, here are the things you need to do to secure your home with your Alexa and with your, your internet connected coffee pot and your Nest. Like, what are you going to tell them to do? Change the router password is first. What's second on the list? What's the next thing you're going to tell them to do?
don't connect.
Well, I think yeah, three networks, and so modern router they can do multiple networks. Three networks. One with the guest password list for your friends. One with the like your laptop and your work laptop and your client's work laptop if you have 3 laptops like me. And then one with your internet of internet of poop stuff where you have your you hook up your oven and whatever, so you can leave the oven on while you're in the other room, which is a great idea.
This is a grown-up Twitch. You can say shit. It's okay.
Yeah, but like I've watched my because obviously we're all at home and I got kids. I've watched them struggle with like Teams, like joining a channel, and now we're asking them, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to make sure to go into your router and you're going to create a couple of subnets. Number one, so that you see what I'm saying?
Again, I'm theorizing somebody who
Okay,
is
so-
technically willing to teach themselves, willing to learn how to do it.
Well,
These are
think
people who
about
taught themselves
why
Greek.
have separate
okay?
networks when all you need is you can share the password of your internal network your kids are using, and they just share that information with their friends. No one's going to use the guest network anyway, because I had a guest network and nobody was using it because everybody was sharing the information. So what's the point? I don't even have one anymore.
Okay, but,
Well,
but the network for your Internet of Things thing. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
But it's work. To Seth's point, you have to tell your family member, okay, you're going to go into your router first. You're going to log in. Where am I logging in at? Okay, you're going to go here and you're going to log in with your password. What's my password? Try password 123. Most likely it's that. You didn't change it. And then you're going to go and you're going to create a guest Wi-Fi network. Well, what's that? And it just.
Well, again, I postulated at the beginning this person was willing to learn. This person was willing to educate themselves. They taught themselves how to make pho from a recipe. They taught themselves how to speak. Right. They taught themselves how to speak Gaelic out of Duolingo. They're willing to self-educate. Right.
You know,
these are people.
I need to get in.
Yeah, more people are learning Gaelic on Duolingo than actually speak Gaelic in Ireland. So here we go. There's your advertisement. I want to kick back from that one.
I'm open to helping anybody as long as they're giving me or showing me an initiative to learn. But it's the folks, if there's a history that continue to drop the ball or show a lack of respect for my time or effort, I'm done.
Yeah,
right.
Like, I love the optimism that these people exist. Like there's like 3 of them, right? And there's 6 of them, and we're in here right now.
I don't have optimism.
Well, something happens to scare them, and they exist in that state for about 30 minutes. So you have a good 30 minutes where you can get them to.
Yeah, like just the words. You have to create a separate network. Like just those words. Are like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, my family's gone. When I say that, they're like, "Can you come over?" And
okay, so that's not one of them. Okay, so separate network isn't one of them. Again, change your router password. What's number 2? Come on, we got to be able to come up with. We've got 6 of the biggest brains on the planet here who are 5.
Don't include me in that.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's the second thing you tell them to do?
I would back up first. 1, if you're actually concerned about security and you have this, you failed.
Wait, what is it? I want to see it. I missed it.
Well, this is an iPhone specifically, but I don't need to pick on iPhone, but just mobile phone computer thingy in your pocket, right?
Valid.
Most people have already, whether they have read the manual or read a EULA or even known what they have legally signed up for, have just written off a vast majority of their privacy and have opened themselves up to collectively the world, not even just like America, but like the world. So they've failed.
You're right.
We've already failed, and we're already what's the saying? It's the box is already open or whatever. Pandora's box.
Yeah.
The horse is out of the barn. Pandora's box is already open.
The horse is out of the barn. Has run across the national border. You can't even go over there anymore.
Horse is in Canada.
Right, exactly. The horse went to Canada.
They let the horse in. They won't let Americans in, but they let the horse in.
Yeah, that horse was like, I saw Twitter. I'm out. See ya. You know, so like,
I got elegant.
They can't go to Mexico because the wall's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
the fake
I'm
wall.
pretty sure the horse would have been like, that's not a wall.
Yeah. And there's better food over there.
Right.
Right.
You know what? Yeah.
So that's the first thing. I think whenever any company or anybody is talking about IoT, and I think this is one of the common conversations, unfortunately, is what's our risk profile already for selling this thing? What are people going to do? Like, let's dream up some idiot stuff and think about the labels that are going to be created, right? Because that's the stage we're already at. I mean, the number of devices that are sold completely wide open by default. I mean, how many times can you take over a Wi-Fi network or an IoT device that has a password by simply going on the internet and typing default password for a thingy, and boom, you get it, you log in, and you're like, I own it. I'm a hacker.
Right. Yeah.
So like,
again, Shodan.
Oh my God, I never changed the password for my Furbo.
Yeah, but even more alarming, I could buy something called a Wi-Fi pineapple, walk into a Starbucks, and everyone's phone who automatically connects, I can fake the Wi-Fi, and now I have all their packets. I might not be able to see them, right, if they're using SSL. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I can do that, right? And it's really easy to do. In fact, if I know someone's in Starbucks and I particularly target them, I can walk where they're out of Starbucks, and I can follow them, and I can just basically turn on my Wi-Fi Pineapple and say I'm at Starbucks, and their phone will automatically connect.
Yep,
so
right
so
there.
do we even care then
Oh wait.
about our devices?
What's that
Leave
say?
everything wide open, connect it to the world, and just, hey, if my fridge is wide open, connect to my fridge and let me know, my neighbor, let me know if I don't have milk and I don't have enough cake.
Honestly, like the thing about it is that all of these IoT devices are optimizing for you to buy something else from them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I still can't print worth crap, right? Ever. But I could sure as heck Canon will tell me when the ink is over and like do microtransactions on me to sell me more ink. But I still can't print. But they'll know when like they have optimized printers in such a way that it will tell me ink is out. Do you want to sign up for our program? And we'll just send it to you when it's out. Oh, how do you know all the way over at Canon when my ink is out, but I can't even get my stupid printer to work at home?
So I'm going to push back on that one and say that that's not the vast majority. The vast majority is not the big brand, Amazon, Google, etc. The biggest issue are the white label, no vendor announced devices that are bought and then resold on Alibaba as another brand, and you don't know what firmware they're using, what chipset they're using, any of that stuff. And that's the vast majority of the home use IoT devices that are flying around. The aftermarket light bulbs, IoT light bulbs, and the again, what is the controller that's being used in that internet connected fridge? You probably don't know. That's a bigger risk than HP coming after me for some ink. I'm less worried about that. Somebody at least is keeping an eye on HP.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying that these IoT things that come from product people, they are going to optimize not for your security, but for their profitability. Yeah, and I understand that. So, for example, I'm more worried about those as well, like you say. Like if someone made a product that's like, hey, hook me up to your router and I'll show you where all your packets are going to. Like, for example, I brought my kid in the other day. I'm like, I didn't know you had a Facebook account. And they're like, I don't. And I was like, what is this like 21K worth of data? And I'm like, wait a minute, let me load up Facebook. No, they download more than that if you're looking at Facebook. And I realized that my kids are being tracked by Facebook because cookies are everywhere with Facebook stuff. And they're sending data back to Facebook that my router is telling me their MAC address is doing. Like if we had a product that was like, let me show you what is actually happening, hook it up to your router and drop, people would be terrified.
I kind of work for a company that does that.
Oh,
just
really?
FYI, like monitoring. You're talking about monitoring.
Exactly.
And, and really what you're talking about is NetFlow, which if anybody's watching this and like, I have never heard of this NetFlow thing, let me go look it up.
Plug, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, your cloud data can also track, but really what you're talking about, regardless of the vendor, like, monitoring NetFlow will tell you not just that you are using 2 gigabytes of data, it'll tell you where that data is going, what the breakdown is of it. That's really what you're talking about. And then just for extra fun, put some alerts on that and say, hey, if I see a new destination, if I see, if I know that there's no Facebook coming, I want an alert if I see traffic going to Facebook, like that kind of stuff. But if we're talking about people who aren't going to create another network, they're certainly not necessarily going to implement, a NetFlow collector and, automated
But if there was
alerting.
a device they could just plug in, say, hey, plug this in, and we'll tell you. Or if the routers themselves, if you could like add a plug-in to the router, like I wanted to go to my router and figure out what my kids are doing. I need to know what that is because I look for them. Like if I could write a Python script that basically alerts me when things are happening that I don't want to. And then if we could commoditize that into routers in such a way that says, here is a weekly report of where all the traffic is going, people would be like, what is this?
So Unify does that.
Unify, yeah. Have you heard of Unify?
No, I haven't. Bless you.
Yeah, so it's a Taiwanese company, but they are like literally like prosumer above like the high-end Linksys Netgear, below Cisco. And here's the thing. I can I've got like the access point and the Ethernet thing. I've SSH'd them once and said, okay, I've SSH'd and that's Linux, and I've hooked up the syslogs to my like NAS or whatever, and I said, I don't need that. The GUI is just fine. But I could, like, if I ever wanted to, I could do all that stuff. But like, if the only thing I don't have, like, there's one more device I could get that could give me like firewalls and like I could really start trafficking. But it's really easy to bring up this. The only problem is the monitoring app is like a Java app that stores the data in a MongoDB, but there's like a Docker image, so I can do that, and I can just
There's a
set that
REST
up.
API. There's a REST API. You can pull the data out to anything you want to.
There's REST API. I can turn on SNMP, and yeah.
You can pull the data, and it basically does NetFlow, and it gives you a visualization right in the device to show where things are going, and you can set up alerts and stuff like that. So I mean, that's Unify. I'm sure there are other vendors that are building that in for the exact reason that you're talking about. But listen to the way that Justin mentioned it. It's prosumer. Like,
So
it's
John
still
Flores
not.
said, if you have a cable box, it's doing the same thing based on your watching habits.
Yeah.
But if we could make a consumer version of that because look, the first step for anybody to change anything is for there to just be a general awareness. Like if people are aware, like, wait, why is my fridge talking to my thing, right? And if it like if we could look at a device and the router knows this is the fridge, this is the printer, because the router knows when the printer is connecting. It knows when it's an iPhone. If it could be like, hey, your fridge is talking to these things, you could be like, wait, what? And that is the beginning.
That's the
like,
top.
if you
Why
get
is my fridge talking to Facebook? Why is my fridge talking to Facebook? That's what I want to know. My fridge has a Facebook account. Who knew?
And then people are going to ask questions. So that is the first step. So nobody cares about this until they are some awareness. Like, wait, what do you mean my light bulb is on the internet? What? That doesn't make any sense. What did I buy?
Yeah, like, wait, my dishwasher has a Facebook account?
Yeah, and so,
real?
geez, yeah.
How did set that up?
My
And so
thermostat
that's-
is participating in a 2000 node botnet that's currently attacking, DuPont or whatever.
I mean, you're right. It's the awareness. Once people know what's
Can I opt into attacking the pot? That seems like it might be a thing you might want to opt in.
because if you ignorance is bliss, right? If you don't know what's happening, you don't care.
Right. And most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves because we're too occupied with 1,000 other things going on in our lives.
Right.
And we're gonna use the easy, ineffective, insecure, convenient method, as opposed to taking 5 minutes out of your day doing it right the first time. We would rather do it over and over again, and we all see it in our industry. I'm going to single out like end users. You give them a set of instructions, all they got to do is read it. Do they ever read it?
Yeah.
Never.
I look at this too as like looking at some historical stuff where we just kind of went full bore without thinking about it. And then like on a subsequent thing that came up, we're like, oh, hold on, let's think this through a little bit and create a system in which these things exist. Like for instance, say cars and airplanes. With cars, we're just like, hey, everybody can have one of these things. Well, since they came out around 19 something, like we've killed 6 million actual people with them. Airplanes, on the other hand, we're like, whoa, hold on. It's kind of scary. It's cool, but it's scary. Let's think about it. And eventually we ended up with like the FAA and these systems in which to make that particular thing work well. And we kind of controlled it a little bit more. And to this date, like, I don't even think people have any notable stats that they could quote about actual injuries, except maybe like 737 MAX Boeing issues as of late. But overall, I mean, like one quote that I think of is, for airplanes to be as dangerous as the other thing, you'd have to crash a 737 MAX every day. That's kind of horrifying when you think about it. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah, it's just a freakish. Like, no, I'm not even going to accept that idea. But that's the parallel. Whereas with IoT devices, that's out of the bag. So we kind of need to come up with the band-aids now. And I think education is the first step, because like people don't even know. It's like, oh, do I have 1,000 cuts? Am I bleeding? Is there a problem with my IoT stuff? Yeah, there is. Here's some information about it. And even with cars, it was like, was it the 70s where people were like, oh, we should have seatbelts? That sounds crazy. Why would I have a seatbelt?
I remember driving in a station wagon with the seat facing backwards. Man, that was a whole different experience on a road trip than everybody else. Try not to make eye contact with the dude driving behind you, right?
Yeah. Okay, how many people face planted into the front down when mom or dad were driving and they hit the brakes too fast? Because there were no seatbelts. There weren't any, right? That was just like, it was a thing.
Right.
Right. I think I still have a scar from like
I think my parents did it on purpose to make me be quiet.
Oh. SUV, right?
Oh, sorry.
But that,
Like,
but
oh, we
that,
didn't have seats. Sit in the back of the SUV in the trunk portion. We had like
But-
3 kids back there. Throw the kids, all the adults sit in the seats.
right, but that's why they have an oh shit bar in Jeep Wranglers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah,
an
they're well
there's
before
the ocean
seatbelts.
car.
I still remember looking out the back of the car, not trying to look at the other driver behind us. Like, is he still
this
there?
No enough seats. No enough seats.
So I want to take it back
Is he still there?
I want to take it back for a second and just say that everything we were just talking about we've been talking about the home user market. All that is equally, if not more so true as IT professionals working in corporate environments. We need to be encouraging the businesses that we consult with, work for, however we interact with businesses, because we pull a paycheck somehow, that they're bringing in IoT things. They're bringing in HVAC system IoT. They're bringing in motion control. They're bringing in, all sorts of stuff. And as the IT professional there, maybe not an army of one, but part of it, we have to be saying, hey, wait, have we security tested these devices? Have we checked to see what kind of, connections they're demanding? Have we, what kind of rigor have we tested this with? Have we asked the vendor how often they change their chipset? Have we done any of those things? And the odds are probably not, because, facilities just wanted to know what temperature it was in every meeting room. They just wanted to know, like it was an easy little, and they put it in, right?
Yep.
I think awareness, like if there was something that people could just be like, let me just put this on my network, just plug it into one of the open ports, and then it basically told people what is actually happening, people would be horrified. I was horrified, and I know what I'm doing. I'm like, why is my kid on Facebook? They're like 6 years old, right? And then I realized they weren't. They were doing their regular homework,
right?
But somehow traffic to Facebook was still being generated. It made me mad. And I was like, why is this happening? I thought they were on Facebook. I'm like, look, the router doesn't lie. And then I did
He was going to get grounded, huh?
Then I did another check, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, this is a bigger download. There's smaller micro things happening. And that's when I had the realization that there's cookies sending information back to Facebook.
Yep.
What device was it? Like just like something on an iPad or something?
It was on a regular computer, because they get computers sent home because they have to do schoolwork now at home.
Yeah.
And I was checking my router logs just to make sure they weren't doing anything stupid, because I basically time restrict their access on their devices, and then I also restrict certain content. But it turns out that even still, there was cookies pushing data to Facebook, and I'm like, nah, this feels wrong to me. Right. And and I'm a technical guy. Like, I've been a technical guy for 20 plus years. And all of a sudden I was like, holy cow, what is this? And I know what's going on. And I realized right away what it was. Everyone else would be like, you were on Facebook. But see, just the general awareness caused me some mild consternation. And for others, it might not. For others, it'd be like, I don't care. And which is fine, but at least they'll know.
Yeah, it's like I got my groceries that my refrigerator ordered me. That's what I wanted. And as long as nothing changes, don't care.
But they know.
Yeah,
but at least they know.
But I think we really are. I mean, the inconvenience factor, or the maybe someone can see what's in my fridge. Okay, I mean that's an inconvenience factor, but we know that there's real risk. There's real danger that we're talking about. And going back to the earlier joke, like, who has the patience to talk my Uncle Bob through creating a separate subnet? I really don't want Uncle Bob to be assaulted. I really don't want him to be robbed. I really don't want his personal data to be stolen. I don't want, I don't want him to have to replace his credit card every month because it keeps getting swiped.
And that, unfortunately, is the level of informing that we're getting. Because like the stories that happen are the media going, oh shit, somebody got their fridge and da-da-da, and it tracked them doing this thing. And then the person went to the park, and then this freaky person attacked them. And it's just, it's alarmism that's necessary, because we're not being informed about the regular boring stuff, and we're not taking any action on it.
Right.
So it definitely seems like we need to fill that gap. Like Seth was saying with the device thingy. Like what's happening?
Awareness. Like,
yeah.
If you don't know what you're not doing, you don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
ignorance is bliss. It really is. Yep, got my muffin ears on, and
Random
I'll know.
thought.
Hey, it's not hurting me, but as soon as you saw what was going on, you're like, WTF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there some there's got to be some genius AI, right, Seth, where it'll tell us what's actually a danger and actually a problem to us personally, right? I say
It
that
turns out that
ironically.
the search space for that is large, right? You need a fairly big data set, and the reason why is because this is what's called an adversarial type of thing, where as soon as the AI gets enough data to be able to predict, then the tactics change, right? And so we'd have to have some kind of online learning, and the data set would need to be fairly large in order for it to work properly, in my opinion. But like I said, if Facebook were told not to put cookies elsewhere, they'd figure out something else.
Yeah.
Right, because that's what they depend on. And like I said, if you look at like organizations, particularly in the United States, they're generally incentivized by the bottom line. Like the media, like you said, they deal in salaciousness because that's what we watch. Everyone wants to see a train crash, even though they don't say they want to. And forgive me, Adrian, because I knew you were in one, like literally in one.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Oh,
I'm
no.
glad
I
you're
see
still.
it firsthand.
Yeah, but people pulled over and stared, didn't they?
Well, because the train was in the road, so they couldn't go nowhere.
Yeah,
They had to stare. They're
But
forced
all of a
to
sudden,
stare at it.
there was news there. There was a lot of coverage in there.
Yeah.
And it turns out that because the media deals in salaciousness, the standard everyday little micro security issues are not going to get covered unless there is a widespread outrage over them.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example because on the train wreck, we had 3 fatalities and a bunch of injuries. That same day in the United States, 143 people were killed in cars. Did anybody think about it? Not many. Barely anybody. But the world knew about the train wreck.
Well, look how many people jump in front of a train. Like I used to take SEPTA and Amtrak home from Philadelphia to the suburbs here, and I would multiple times a month somebody would jump in front of a train. That was usually it was Friday, right? Usually Fridays, and it was delayed day because the train would stop and you have to wait for the cleanup and all that good stuff. And it was like, at least once or twice a month this happened.
That's
and
terrible.
It's awful. But you didn't hear it on the news unless it was Amtrak and they hit somebody. Then it was like maybe a 10-minute, like just very brief, like, oh, Amtrak was delayed, blah, blah, blah. We hit somebody. Yeah. But if there's like a big crash, then yeah. But the people jumping out in front of trains and killing themselves, no. And that happened a lot.
Yep.
All right.
So times a year.
Just a reminder, don't use train wreck examples around Adron because, I mean, as you know, he literally
I'm fine.
Yeah. So I mean, again, we all work in IT, and we know that situation where, the server's not going to get upgraded until, management knows it's broken. So just let it run hot until it dies.
At least a year after it's broken. Remember that, because we have to, it takes about a year for that purchase order to actually get signed.
Right. But, me saying this is going to go bad doesn't work. So I have been told multiple times over my career by managers who said, just let it die. Then they'll pay attention to it. Then they'll know. Like, I just feel like that is the wrong way to work in IT. And that is the wrong way, I feel like, to encourage good security behaviors or to make the IoT space a better place, is to wait for some massive, horrible, again, to Seth's point, salacious problem. Like, I feel like there's got to be a way to raise the signal that does not involve death.
Humans suck. Think about it. It's the human nature of us. We wait. We procrastinate about it. I let an Exchange server fail. Okay, I let it crash flat on its face because I had a director that did not listen to my recommendations, and they bought storage that wasn't appropriate, and it did not satisfy the requirements. It didn't meet the load, and it fell, and I didn't answer the phone when the phone rang. I let it ring. He called the next cubicle. I said, you touch that phone, I will cut your effing finger off.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember. It was a tough,
Boomerang.
it was a
I'm like,
tough
Well played.
week
Well
for
played.
us.
Well played. Sam.
Nice.
you had like, I had to let it fall. It was going to fall. It fell no matter what I did. Even if I tried to save it, it had to fall, right?
They called twice, actually.
But
And I got a purchase order
we
for
are
some
a
really
reactive.
fast drives within like 2 hours.
We
But it
are
really
a reactive. We are a
But it's
reactive
human.
industry. We
Yeah.
don't proactively do things until it's broken, and we're not proactive because proactive costs money. Time
Yeah.
costs money.
A lot of money.
100%.
We all deal with that.
All right,
100%.
Wait. I'm gonna put some of the blame on us.
Maintenance on your HVAC system. Think about that. The guy comes to do your cleaning, right? You got about 5-10 years. You got a year left. You're thinking, I can stretch this. I can get 5 more years on this heater, this water pump. And next year he comes again. He's like, yeah, this is getting old. You should probably look at a new one. And you're thinking, oh, yeah, that's a couple grand. I can hold this off for another year or two. And then it's Christmas. The day after Christmas, your water heater blows. Yeah. Where's the proactiveness there?
And the water heater person is like, yo, I'm on vacation.
Right.
I told you 3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years, you needed a new water heater.
But
And
it's-
what happens? It's the day after Christmas. Yeah. F you.
But it's different
call you
when it's
back in
coming
3
out of
days.
your pocket.
Yeah.
And then you pay double, right? You pay double because now you got to call an emergency plumber
That's
because
right.
your wife or your kids don't want to get a shower in cold water.
I don't
Hello.
know. I'd just be
Where
like,
is
well,
the
that's tough shit.
proactiveness? It's human nature. Think about it. Everyone's shaking their heads, going, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah."
Okay, but I'm gonna argue for a minute that in IT we are spectacularly bad at putting technical needs into business terms. Like we demand our management speak, that they know how to subnet, that they understand storage arrays, that they understand. So when I tell them all this technical, vomit, they're going to be able to, oh yeah, well, we definitely need to invest in that now. Like we refuse to put things in terms that every other part of the business does. The warehouse, the head of the warehouse needs a new forklift. He is not saying, and we're going to get 42 RPMs out of that sucker. It's going to be 15 horsepower more than we got now. He's not saying that. He's going to say, oh yeah, we can deliver 15 more loads per hour. He's putting it into dollars and cents every time. And IT just like staunchly refuses to do that. So some of it's on us for not doing that.
It's on humans. We do it at home. We do it at work.
Okay, but why do we do it at work? And I don't want to come across. I know Pulan and Leon, we've talked about this privately, etc. But we get fed up when we act this way at work because there's always resistance. Most times than not, you're trying to do something proactively. You're trying to do something for the benefit of the organization, its clients, so on and so forth. And there's always resistance. It's like put it off. We can get by. Let's hold up. For example, training. Is it too much to ask to invest in an employee that's been there for over 7 years for $500 for a subscription? Seriously, for 1 year? Is that too much to ask?
I ain't had that argument in ages.
I'm waiting.
I would flip out if somebody did that, if they nitpick that type of money to me.
It's been a month and I'm waiting for a decision.
Yeah, so I think we're also not trained appropriately in communications because there's a way to frame stuff in a way. Look, I work in a very big company, and there are so many people don't understand that some companies that are very big are basically like 500 companies inside that all have their own priorities, all want to do their own thing. And my job is I work horizontally across them, and my job is to communicate in terms of their priorities with mine. Nobody is taught that anywhere. So when I talk about my priorities, I don't tell them I need Foo and Bar and Baz and Bing. I talk in terms of their priorities, and I put mines inside, right? We just are not trained to do this.
I think that's been my success, honestly, with doing things like getting training, going to conferences, blah, blah, blah. It's always been, so that thing you want to do, I should be doing this. And they're like, ooh, go do that, will you? And I'm like, boom, bing, got the money. I'm going to the conference or the meetup or the whatever it is that ask for it. But I
But
don't
tech
ever tell them
people-
what it's going to
yeah.
do for me.
And the reason why is because tech people just don't like to be wrong, right? They don't like to be wrong. Have this ingrained thing that we know everything. And I learned pretty quickly. That that's not the case. Well, no, pretty slowly. I have found that we often optimize to be clever as opposed to be clear, right? And we have always gone back and look at how clever we were, and we wish we would have been clear, right? And so that's our general problem, right? That's our
Some of
general
that's
problem.
self-defense.
But let's
Yeah.
be honest, we can bullshit with the best of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can. Yeah, and that's
Yes,
the
we
thing. And
can.
so that's the communication. So I could probably extract almost anything from my partners because I'm basically making it look like we're adding to their success, which we are, but with my goals in mind.
It's that what do they call it? Oh, it's
like
the win-win thing, right? You get a win-win.
It's like a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
That's why
I
I've
like
got
that.
the child back there.
I
see?
do want to pick up the phone. Right?
I do.
See the child's like,
Yeah.
well, peeps, we are just about literally we are out of time. I'm not going to just about, we are out of time. We're at 4:01 p.m. Eastern time.
Boom.
That's
This
so
was
late.
I know.
I know.
I could go
right?
get a beer now.
It's just nap
Yes, you
time.
can. You could have gotten a beer anytime you wanted. But
Yeah, because we like whenever you
Now you feel
podcast
okay
with me or
about it.
stream with me, I do allow because the best conversations are with adult beverages. But I want to thank you everyone for watching, and then thank my wonderful guests, water cooler attendants, whatever we want to call ourselves, pals, Twitter friends, co-workers. This was a really, really good conversation. And till next time, thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you too. Thank you.
Should we go out to me making garbage noise?
Yeah,
There you go.
Yes.
Get that ASMR going.
Ah.